I I think what I'm going to do here, if I can remember to do this, as sort of what we call what an example is, or a display of communication. What it really is communication of of an email that I sent to an identity, because I never met this person face to face, eyes to eyes, soul to soul, spirit to spirit. I only know this identity by virtue of a deadlight server to become aware of what they're aware of by virtue of what I see visually, mathematically in my mirror, what is presented in my mirror, not a black mirror, which is what the phone is. The phone is a black mirror. Okay. So there are two systems of communication. One represents death codes, a death spiral, and the one I run is an eternal spiral, pure, eternal, absolute love. So I wrote a very simple, using the English language as the way that the letters were sequenced, as nuclear sequences, of explaining some very basic, simple truths, which is historical in context. When I lived and grew up in the town of Orinda during the 1950s. Okay. And so I explained to her essentially the work that guardians do when waves of units of consciousness are coming in here. In order to perform work, missions, salvage mission contracts, the Emerald Founder Race's mission, salvage operation missions. And she sent me a reply back that essentially said, I could not translate what you wrote in the English language. Okay. Now, do you see how that works across time-space vectors between codes, spinning mathematical speed ratio codes? And I thought, okay, well, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to grab a copy of what I wrote, okay, as an exercise, a learning exercise, with few other folks that are in another window on Messenger, and take that text that I wrote and just see and let them know this is what I wrote to an identity that has, if you will, this identity is identifying itself, its cells, its cellular consciousness as an editor of writing articles that relate to those that live in Orinda, California, up in Contra Costa County. And then take what I wrote and then put it in that window and say, can you translate this? Can you translate and thus understand or comprehend what I am trying to convey to that identity? Can you translate that? Because the identity that I sent this message to could not translate it. Are you able to translate the codes as they're fired or experienced through communication of the nuclear cellular coded frequency modulation of what I wrote at the exact now time moment of what I wrote, moment after moment after moment after moment, putting those letters in sequence using the negentropic English language in which to do it. Are you able to translate it? Because it's a simple historical message of why I was there. I even asked some basic questions such as, is Donna de Verona still around that I can contact? Do you have a way to do that? Because she's plugged in to that system, right? And so I didn't even get a reply to that. In other words, it was like when you think of communicating to another unit of consciousness, I didn't get very far. this has everything to do with what? Communication systems. Cellular recorders that are communicating to other cellular recorders. And the language, Lang, you age. No, there's no age. Metabolic rate of speed. Metabolic rate of aging. The age of cells. And how that relates to spin cycles. And how that relates to reproduction cycles. As that relates to mathematical visual numbers. Of mirrors, of magnetic recorders experiencing future memories, and how that relates to a mass extinction event. Now we're back to time that it takes to recode and salvage the fragments, the solar-coded fragments of the original eternal life template. Now I remember who I am. This I am. This I am. Now I am. This I am. In a now time moment, the still point of the first magnet. I know. Simplify it. Simplify the complex prime numbers. We invented numbers. Have a beautiful day. We love you all.